Hello and welcome to the final round of the 2016 PCC Lites Series season here at the Burke Lakefront Airport. There are still 6 drivers in contention for the championship, but all 36 are going to be chasing the checkered flag at the end of the day. So let's take you through the grid, starting with your pole sitter, Australia's Clay Gibson, who was 7th in the PCC truck race yesterday, and Jeff Fisher, an outside threat for the championship, in 4th place in the standings. Dale Kensington Jr. in the Jeffries Racing 36 in a one-off, and Nicholas Cordovos, pole sitter for the truck race yesterday. Lenore Scurry, a rookie, going for the championship. She's 3rd in points, and Patrick O'Hannigan has 1 win on the year in that 11 car. Mason Yokoyama's moving his team up to the Lites Series next year, and Andy Lambert, Cup Series veteran, chasing another win in 8th place. JF Davila keeping Team Canada's hopes alive for a promotion spot, and Gabriel Messina in Ekdal Autosport's swan song in the Lites Series. NAC driver Connie Brooks and the Marcus Stanton 82, and Sergei Yakovsky chasing a Lites win for the triple threat team. 2014 Series champion Sam Burkhart and Sam Smith, road ringer, in row 7. James Beverly 5th in the championship, and the King of Cleveland, Justin King, makes his return to the Burke Lakefront Airport in 16th place. Canada's Greg Maddox starting in 17th for Wins a Lot Motorsports, and Casey Lester moving up to the Lites Series with Mr. Lade next year. Denny Adams, best qualifying of the DJ Motorsports cars, are in a Lites promotion spot, and Kelly Ashcroft from the NAC Series. Denmark's Dima Van Hall, and Damon Jones, the other DJ Motorsport car, in row 11. Carter Fitzgerald trying to keep that team out of relegation, and Roman Carpont, the other Tony Long car, in row number 12. Isaac Parsons, the second of the 3 Circle Track Racing cars, and Lisa for Truman Ellison Motorsports, starting in 16th place. Bluto Belushi trying to keep his team alive in the Lites Series, still in relegation, and Daniel Bouchard there. And the last of the Circle Track cars, JC Carpenter and Alex Constantine, trying to stay out of relegation for the Turbo Sports bunch. Dustin Oliver, the only championship contender not to qualify on time, and Barry Juvenile, hometown hero, takes a promoter's option. Same thing with Truck Series winner Prince Sloss, and Truck Points winner Brian Jeffries, and Clayton Williams and Samantha Mason round out the field, taking 2 promoters options for teams that we haven't seen all season. And with that, Clay Gibson and Jeff Fisher are going to lead the field down to the green flag pretty slowly. These cars only top out at about 110 miles an hour, but aside from that, looks like we've got Lenore Scurry making a move on the inside. Dale Kensington Jr. trying to take a peek there. Cordova's looking low on Fisher, and Kensington makes a move on Gibson, but it's not going to work. Field gets through turn 1 mostly clean. We've got Gibson, Kensington, Cordova's up front, and that's a white car around in the back. We've got some contact in the midfield. That's 2 more cars going off, but Gibson holding the lead over Kensington and Cordova's, with Fisher pushed back to 4th. Fisher trying to make a move on the outside, but he's going to go wide, as looks like Gibson in the 3rd Petroltech Engineering car is going to extend his lead. Going to take a look at what happened in turn 1. Kelly Ashcroft, the NAC driver, gets spun there by Damon Jones. She's going to go around. 3 cars take evasive action into the grass. That's Carpont, that's Lisa, and Samantha Mason, and all are going to get away fine from that as Ashcroft continues on. Further up, though, this was a scary incident. JF Davila pushes wide, and that's Gabriel Messina and Andy Lambert taking each other into the embankment. That's a hard hit, and both drivers are going to be done for the day after just a couple turns. Tough break for both of them. They're looking for a good run here today, as Dustin Oliver was the only driver, only one of the 6 championship contenders to take the points provisional to get into this race, and such he started at the back. He's worked his way up to 26th, just a few corners in. He's been working his way through the field slowly but surely. That's Damon Jones there, he's trying to get around, but his main points rival, Sam Burkhart, the 2014 champion, sits in 9th place and currently leads the championship if the race were to end right now. Burkhart needs to finish 9 spots better than the 31 in order to lock up the championship, as Clay Gibson in the 62 leading over Dale Kensington Jr. Great run for that 36 car. This is a one-off for Jeffries Racing for that 36. Might be auditioning for a ride in the Lites Series next year if there's been some rumors circulating around, but Clay Gibson looks like he's headed back to Europe next year, so hopefully he can snag a win here before he goes back to Europe, as Lenore Scurry, 3rd in the championship. A bit of a long shot, needs to finish about 20 spots better than the 31 and 11 better than the 51 to lock up the title. And right now the 51's running up in the top 10. But Lenore Scurry having an excellent rookie season. I believe she has 2 or 3 wins on the year. Taking a look at the relegation battle right now, the battle to get out of relegation, Bluto Belushi is doing what he needs to do. He sits in 20th place, and he's over Alex Constantine right now. He is in for next season with Fat Drunk Stupid Racing. Alex Constantine running in 25th, now 24th, getting around Damon Jones there on the inside, is currently out. He would be the one team out that is very close on points. Turbo Sports and Fat Drunk Stupid Racing came into this race separated by only 9 points. There is one more car trying to get out of relegation. That's Carter Fitzgerald, and she's up in 18th place. She is also out with Ryan Matthews Racing. This team needs a miracle here if they're going to stay in the Lites Series next season. Dale Kensington Jr. falling back to 3rd place now. Ran that corner a bit wrong. Cordova's, though, very strong in this Lites car. He did win the pole in the truck race and led a good portion of that race, but Dale Kensington Jr. holding strong in this 36 car. Didn't expect to see him up near the front or to see him get in through pole qualifying, but he did both, and he's holding strong right in front of Mason Yokoyama. His teammate, Ryan Jeffries, got into this race with a promoter's option. His team is moving up to the Lites Series next year. He confirmed himself as one of the 2 drivers, and he's running up in, I believe he's in 28th place right now. So making his way through the field, hasn't done too much to get through, but doing a good job. One of the other teams moving up to the Lites Series next year, Mason Yokoyama Racing, and Mason Yokoyama, the owner driver of that team, sitting in 4th place right now, having a great run. He's established himself as a bit of a road ringer. He's run in Europe a couple times a few years ago, and this year he won 3 races in the truck series. 2 of those were on road courses. He's looking strong here today, showing that he's going to be a force on the road courses. And Sergei Yakovsky and Rus Autosport America are moving up to the Lites Series next year. But Yakovsky's not driving for Rus Autosport America here. He's driving for Triple Threat Motorsports, trying to get his first Lites win before he even starts his rookie campaign. But he's running in 10th right now, having a pretty good run, as it looks like Dustin Oliver now is up to 23rd. He's closing that gap just a bit, as Sam Burkhardt has fallen back to 10th. He's running right behind Isaac Parsons right now, and one of the 3 circle track cars. That's the worst running of the circle track cars, I believe. But Dustin Oliver working his way through the field, cutting through Lisa, running in 29th. Going to make contact with Clayton Williams, and she's going to go sliding into the tire barrier and go over. That's a hard hit for the 030 car. And Lisa's going to be done for the day in the Truman Ellison car. She's also running the Cup race, going on board with Clayton Williams in the Bobby Dollar car. We haven't heard that name in a few years. Just judged that a bit wrong, and he's going to keep going. He was apologetic over the radio, but that's one of the championship contenders. That's James Beverly with a tire going down from 11th place on lap number 6. Looks like the bell is tolling for you, James Beverly, as that might be the end of your championship battle here, or your championship run. As Beverly got his first win this year in the Lites Series, was a threat for the championship most of the year, but looks like it's going to end there. Oh, that's some contact with Carter Fitzgerald. Dima Van Hall. Hall almost goes up on his side, and that's quite a bit of damage on the front end of the 6 car, and that might be the end of their struggle to get out of relegation, as that looks like quite a bit of damage on that 6 car. I'm not sure how competitive she's going to be after that, going on board with the 6 car. Looks like, Van Hall just misjudged where Carpenter was going, checked up in the middle of the turn, and Fitzgerald had nowhere to go but into the rear quarter panel. And yeah, that damage is looking like it's going to be hampering that 6 car, as looks like with all of those events and cars pulling into the pits, Dustin Oliver has tied Sam Burkhardt for the points lead. Oliver would get the tie based on laps completed. He doesn't have a win. Burkhardt has 3, but laps are the first tiebreaker. Justin King, the King of Cleveland, running up in 14th place, doing battle with the circle track cars. That's Carpenter getting into him, and he's going to go around from 14th. He'll gather it back up, lose a couple positions. But the King of Cleveland, who infamously won the 2007 and 2008 Cleveland Grand Prix back-to-back and won the pole in 2010 in a part-time car, soldiers on, didn't lose too many positions. There is Bluto Belushi in the Fat Drunk Stupid Racing car, doing what he needs to do. They brought a fast machine here today. He's up in 16th place, so he's gained a few more positions since we last saw him, doing battle there with I believe that's Denny Adams in the 25. DJ Motorsports looking to move up into the Cup Series next year. They're in a pretty good position to do so. But Bluto Belushi doing all he needs to do. And Alex Constantine sitting in 24th right now. 23rd, I believe 23rd, is one spot out from himself being locked in. He needs to finish 22nd or better to pass Grand Strand Racing as Clay Gibson continues to lead over Corredovos and Kensington, who have put a bit of a gap between themselves, and I believe that's Jeff Fisher back in 4th place. But I mentioned before that Clay Gibson, he's moving back to the Europe Series next year with Paloma Autosport to run full-time there. Best of luck to him. I don't think we'll see him much stateside, but we'll be following his pursuits in Europe with very close interest, as he looked pretty strong there. Here's the Truck Series winner, Prince Talas. Blew up in his qualifier, did not make the race through normal means, but got himself a promoter's option through some interesting means. He's running right behind hometown hero Barry Juveno and Samantha Mason in the 66 car. That's the Darrell development car there. That's an oil leak on the 67 car. That's JF Davila trying to keep Team Canada in their final promotion spot, but I don't think that's going to last, as JF Davila is going to go into the pits from, I believe that's 9th place. That's an oil leak on the 67. He's going to lose quite a bit of time, and that's going to put him off cycle from everyone else. As Alex Constantine with that is going to move up to 22nd place. He is in next season. Turbo Sports sits right on the edge. That's a tenuous position for them, and looks like Dustin Oliver is up to 19th place. So I think one more spot, or he's sitting right on that margin there. I believe he's still tied as Pat O'Hannigan comes into the pits. He's got a tire going down on that 11 car. He's going to go off cycle. And if the day couldn't get worse for Carter Fitzgerald, she's going a lap down. They had to take the hood off of that car, and she's looking pretty off the pace here as Kensington has slipped back to 4th. Oh dear, I'm not sure she knows where to go on the front stretch to get out of the way, but she's going to do so as Dima Van Hall's going to pit to repair that damage that he took from Carter Fitzgerald. He was running in, I believe he was in 16th place at the time. He's going to go off cycle as well. Just past the quarter point in this one, and Dustin Oliver is going to make a move to the outside of Isaac Parsons. He's going to get the position, move up to 17th, and that's going to give him the points lead by 2 over Sam Burkhart, who sits in 9th place right now. So eight positions is the difference right now between Oliver and Burkhart. Denny Adams, looking at a team that's going to probably be in the Cup Series next year. Denny Adams and DJ Motorsports, he's running in 13th place right now, right in front of Bluto Belushi. He got his first win in the Light Series a couple weeks ago and is putting together another strong performance here, just trying to lock it up. His teammate Damon Jones in the 40. Oh, that's a big slide from Carpont there. Damon Jones was a dark horse coming into this race for the championship. He's, I believe he's 6th in points coming into this one. He's sitting in 19th place right now. Strong run for both of these cars. I mean, they're not near the front of the field, but respectable performances, and it looks like they're going to be back in Cup next year. Speaking of teams that might be in Cup next year, here's Syzygy Engineering and Jeff Fisher in 3rd. Oh, that's a bit of a bump from Kensington there in 4th place. And with Team Canada going off cycle, it looks like Syzygy Engineering is going to hold that final promotion spot to the Light Series as they go 3 wide. That's Lenore Scurry there as well. And that battle has allowed Gibson and Corredovos to gap them even more. Gibson putting a bit of distance between himself and Corredovos, while Corredovos is trying to rewrite the narrative and take another win for Praise Your Prince Racing. He won the pole for the truck race and led a good portion of it before a tire failure put him back to 10th. Both of these drivers actually finished top 10 in that truck race. Gibson was 7th. Justin King trying to get around. Oh dear, that was a bit sketchy from Carter Fitzgerald, as Justin King spins for the 2nd time this race and loses even more ground than he did the first time. He's back behind Alex Constantine now. We're going to have to take a look at this, going on board with Justin King. And Denny Adams going wide there, and oh dear, Carter Fitzgerald just snapped. there, and that's some pretty poor car control from the driver of the 6 car, although I can't imagine that the aerodynamics are any better with that hood missing. As this is a bit early for green flag pit stops, as Dustin Oliver is going to dive into the pits from 18th place. He did lose that position to Isaac Parsons, but 18th place, he's going to surrender that. And this is, he must not be getting that great fuel economy, because this is a couple laps before we expected him. And earlier that lap, we had Sam Burkhart come in from 8th, so Burkhart controls the points lead once again. Denny Adams and Justin King going to come in the next lap. And with both Sam Brown racing cars pitting, Lenore Scurry is actually holding the points lead right now, as I mean, this isn't going to last very long, but if she plans it right, she might be able to control the points lead at the end of this one. Oh, there goes Dale Kensington Jr. up in smoke. That's a heartbreak for him. He was having such a good run in that 36 car. If the rumors are to believe, this was this was an audition for this 36 car for next season. When Jeffries Racing moves up to lights, I think he might have earned it with that run, even though the engine let him down here. Clay Gibson coming into the pits from the lead with, I believe this is lap 21. About what we expected. These cars were pitting in the qualifiers, which were 25 laps, and as looks like most of the rest of the field is coming in this time by. Prince Tlas, oh, that's some contact there with Damon Jones, and he's going to go around. Samantha Mason just gets by there, but Prince Tlas has had a pretty rough go of it. He did work his way up to about 20th, but he did say the lights race was going to be wild. I think he thought he was going to be contending for the win, as Corredovos brings the rest of the field down into the pits. Going on board with Clay Gibson to see how pits cycle out, and that car coming out of the pits right there, that's Corredovos. So a good stop for Nicholas Corredovos and that Praise Your Prince team, and he's going to put himself in front by a few seconds after pit cycles out. Oh, that's the 79. Left rear tire has exploded on that car, and he's going to bring it to a halt. He'll get a push back to the pits, but 79 car had a pretty good run. He was the best running of the circle track racing cars, I believe, at the time. And after pits cycle out, the 51 car sits in 13th place, and here is Dustin Oliver in 20th. So Oliver, 7 positions behind Burkhart, holds the points lead by 4 right now, doing battle there with Ryan Jeffries for the 20th position. I believe if he gets around him here, it'll be 19th, which will put him 6 points ahead, as Corredovos continuing to hold the lead now over Clay Gibson, who hasn't been able to close nearly as much as I think he expected. Patrick O'Hannigan has cycled up to 3rd place, but he had that tire failure in his off cycle, so I think we can discount his running order right now, but he might be able to challenge for the lead. Here's Clayton Williams. I mentioned before that he's running for the Bobby Dollar team. We haven't heard that name in a few years. Bobby Dollar ran a cup operation in 2012 with minimal sponsorship, but has come back for this lights race. He entered 2 cars, the 58 and the 59. Neither qualified, but the 58 got a promoter's option. And Clayton Williams is doing a pretty good job. He's up in 19th place here. And one of the other teams that we kind of didn't expect to get a promoter's option was Samantha Mason and the Darrell Development team. Samantha Mason is a NAC driver. She's going full-time next year, I believe. But there are some rumors that she might be running in the Lights Series as well. NAC drivers can run full-time in both trucks and lights. Speaking of NAC drivers, Connie Brooks appears to be the best of them here today. And she's up in 10th place in this 82 car. Got in through pole qualifying, didn't really expect to see that. But Connie Brooks putting together a good show for the NAC drivers, and that's Barry Juvenile coming into the pits with a tire down. He was not having a great run, but he's going to pull into the pits, and the hometown hero, Barry Juvenile, oh dear, that's Greg Maddox up in smoke. He was running up in 10th place, I believe. And that's a catastrophic engine failure for Greg Maddox, as he's going to go out of it. I think he was expecting a better run, or a better season with wins a lot, but he's going to do I believe he's going to end up pretty high in points as Alex Constantine comes into the pits. That's a tire down on that 007 car, and he's going to pull out of the pits. He was running in a good position. He was 18th before he came into the pits, so he was in. I don't think he's going to be in after that, as Justin King, that's his third spin of the race. Kelly Ashcroft, I guess, just misjudged that. Close call for Samantha Mason there, as 3 spins for Justin King. I think he's getting pretty sick of being a bowling pin here today, and Ashcroft just misjudged that, and that's a bit of a mistake from the NAC driver. Both are going to continue on without damage. I don't think either of them are even going to pit to repair that. So they're going to continue on as Clayton Williams, that's going to be the end of his day. And there goes Ryan Jeffries, and Dustin Oliver spun there. Your championship leader coming into this race has spun, but a suspension failure is going to put Clayton Williams out of a promising performance here. He was looking to finish up in the top 20 as synchronized spinning between Ryan Jeffries and Dustin Oliver. And Oliver actually, I don't think he lost a position in that, considering he passed Jeffries there. As checking in on this relegation battle, Bluto Belushi still holding strong. He's up in 13th place at the halfway point of this race. And I mentioned before, they brought a pretty fast piece here. Belushi sitting in 13th, doing everything he needs to do. There's a lot of pressure on Belushi coming into this race. He needed to perform, and so far he's getting it done. Sam Smith is now the best running circle track car, and he's up in, I believe, 10th place. This is the third circle track car. I mentioned that earlier. The 69 car, he qualified this as the 99, but ceded that number to Kelly Ashcroft. And he's been popping up. He's been filling in as a road course ringer earlier in the year in the Lights and Truck Series. And Ashcroft, I guess that running into King did damage the fender, and that destroyed one of the tires on that car, and she's trying to limp back to the pits. Bryce Tanner moment here. No, she's going to get around there. But a bit of a sketchy moment for the 99 there, as looks like Clay Gibson has closed the gap on Nicholas Corradovos. I don't think he's going to make a move here. It sounds like Gibson is just content to ride and make a move late. Again, there's still about half of this race to go, but Clay Gibson seems content to just sit back there for now and watch what Corradovos is doing, try and make a move late on Corradovos in this one. Here's Sergei Yakovsky running in 7th place. The 2-time Cup winner and 1-time Truck winner is looking to snag his first Lights win here today with the new Triple Threat Motorsports team. It doesn't look like he's going to be doing that, considering that he's in 7th place and quite a bit behind the leaders. But again, still a strong run for this upstart Triple Threat Motorsports team in their first Lights foray. We will be seeing Sergei Yakovsky in the Lights Series next year with Roos Autosport America, and a second driver yet to be named, as the mechanical failures still continue for Circle Track Racing, as this is their second one of the race, with the 89 of JC Carpenter. He pulls into the pits from 14th place with a coolant leak. They will be able to get him back out on track, it sounds like, and by all accounts, it sounds like that Carpenter is going to be back in this 89 car, although I believe that's dependent on if he continues to bring sponsorship to that car. Through a litany of mechanical failures, including one of his own, Alex Constantine is now back up into 22nd place, which means that Turbo Sports is sitting on the cusp of being back in the Light Series next year. I believe 22nd or better was what they needed to get ahead of Grand Strand Racing, who failed to qualify both of their cars, so things are looking a bit rough over at Grand Strand and their garage right now. As here are 2 new teams that showed up to the Light Series this year and put together some pretty successful runs. Roman Carpon in the 919 for Tony Long Autosport, and Daniel Bouchard for the Genesis Engineering team. Carpon had a moment earlier in this race with Ryan Jeffries, and Bouchard's kind of flown under the radar, but both drivers are going to take the lessons learned here today and this year and apply them to next year and possibly go for a promotion spot. Speaking of promotion spots, Syzygy Engineering tentatively holds the final one still, and they're edging closer to getting back into the Cup Series. Actually, they never did compete full-time in the Cup Series in their long and storied history. This is tentative on Lambert Motorsports not taking their promotion, as they said they'd defer all year. Looks like that's going to be the case, as Casey Lester, in his last ride for AJ Murphy's team, sitting in 9th place right now, having a strong run. It sounds like Murphy has kind of taken Lester under his wing as far as team ownership goes. Lester is one of the team principals for Mr. Lade Motorsports, which is buying out Clayson Enterprises at the end of the year. And it sounds like Murphy's taught Lester a thing or two about team ownership and managing teams, as Sam Burkhart, Sam Brown Racing continues to have some pretty poor fuel economy here. This might come back to bite them, as Sam Burkhart and Dustin Oliver both come in on the same lap, lap 40. And Barry Juveno still in the pits. That was Denny Adams follows suit the next lap. And Clay Gibson's going to hit the pit lane a lap after that. So Gibson surrenders 2nd place. I mentioned Barry Juveno being in the pits. Looks like that was a more severe issue than we initially thought, as Lenore Scurry leads the championship once again in the middle of green flag pit stops. If this fuel economy issue comes back, they might not be able to make it on 2 stops, Sam Brown Racing, I mean. And that means that Lenore Scurry might just steal this championship, as Nicholas Corredovos brings his car into the pits from the lead, and Jeff Fisher's going to stay out and get 2 bonus points for leading a lap. 2 more bonus points towards sealing up that final promotion spot for Syzygy Engineering. He comes into the pits the next lap, and Corredovos holds the lead over Clay Gibson, but it's less than last pit cycle. So Clay Gibson closed it up just a bit on Corredovos, and they did have a better pit stop, so he might be able to challenge and just ride there, as Sam Burkhart, after pits, is he's in 12th place right now, holding strong. That's Alex Constantine right in front of him. He is diving into the pits now, so he moves up to 11th, and Dustin Oliver sits in 19th. So it is back tied now for the points battle. So Dustin Oliver had a pretty poor pit stop, it sounds like, so he's going to have to gain a couple more positions here, as Bluto Belushi running... Oh no! The glass slipper broke for Belushi. He was running in 13th place. He was solidly in a promotion, or not promotion spot, but he was solidly back in the Light Series next year. The glass slipper has broken, and Bluto Belushi has been confirmed, and Fat Drunk Stupid Racing is going to be the team relegated here today. Turbo Sports and Grandstrand Racing breathing a sigh of relief, as Corredovos continues to hold the lead over Clay Gibson. Gibson's going to have to pick it up a little bit if he's going to have to challenge here. But looks like Lenore Scurry up in 4th place, excuse me. Scurry having an excellent run this year. I believe she won 3 times this year, but looks like she's going to be challenging for Rookie of the Year next year, as Petroltech Engineering is the top team right now that is moving up to the Cup Series. Considering that the top 2, it sounds like, are going to be deferring. Sam Brown Racing's closing at the end of the year, and Lambert Motorsports, it sounds like, will be deferring their entry to the Cup Series next season. Damon Jones running up in 20th place, has reported a vibration that's been getting steadily worse in this car. 20th place, he hasn't gained much momentum, and there it goes. Looks like a mechanical failure on the 48 car is going to put him out of it. Just a few laps from the finish. He was having a strong run with, I believe this is with about 10 minutes to go right now. As taking a look up at the front of the field once again, here's Mason Yokoyama. Oh, he just pulled a fast one on Lenore Scurry, and he's going to move up to 4th place using the lapped car Carter Fitzgerald there. Mason Yokoyama doing battle with some of the more accomplished road ringers in this series. And looks like he might be a threat to steal a couple wins next year in this Mason Yokoyama car, if this performance is to be indicated. And with that move, that actually puts him up into 3rd. Patrick O'Hannigan there in 3rd right now is off cycle and looks to be coming into the pits here pretty soon. JF Davila in the Team Canada car, pits with about 8 minutes to go, and he was running in 7th place, so he surrenders a top 10 position. Couldn't quite make it on fuel, and Patrick O'Hannigan comes into the pits just a lap or two later. Remember, he had a tire failure earlier in the race that put him off cycle, and O'Hannigan is going to surrender a top 3 position. Again, couldn't make it on fuel, so tough break for both of those guys, but this was to be expected. As 6 minutes to go now, and we've got Sam Burkhart up in 9th place, running right in front of one of the Circle Track cars. That's Sam Smith. But, and this is very important, Dustin Oliver, with the mechanical failures and off-cycle drivers, has moved up to 15th place. So he's within 6 spots of Sam Burkhart and holds the points lead right now, and that's another mechanical failure. All 3 Circle Track cars have had mechanical failures this race, and that's a fuel leak on the 69 car of Sam Smith, and that's going to put him out of this one from a top 10 position. The road course ringer had a strong run going, but sounds like he might have a ride lined up next year full time, as he's brought grip all money to this team. But that's going to be another position for Dustin Oliver as white flag comes out for Nicholas Corradovos, and it doesn't look like Clay Gibson's going to be close enough to do anything with it. Clay Gibson's back over a second behind Nicholas Corradovos, and his strategy of just waiting it out doesn't look like it's going to pay off, as Nicholas Corradovos coming through the last few turns. Clay Gibson is not close enough to make a move, and Corradovos won the pole for the truck race, was running second, had a mechanical failure, had a tire go down in that one. Doesn't look like it's going to happen here today, as Nicholas Corradovos is going to take his first career PCC Lights win with Praise Your Prince Racing. Clay Gibson in second place there, and coming through the final few turns, Dustin Oliver running in 14th place right behind Ryan Jeffries there. It looks like he's going to be in just the position that he needs to, and he's going to lock up the PCC Lites Series championship here today. 2016 PCC Lites champion will be Dustin Oliver. Dustin Oliver, who does not have a ride lined up next year, takes the PCC Lites championship by 8 points over 2014 champion Sam Burkhart and becomes the first winless champion in PCC Lites history. Lenore Scurry did all she could to take the championship, but fell 19 points short and won Rookie of the Year in the process, 5 points over Jeff Fisher, who seems to have secured Syzygy Engineering's first PCC Lites run in their history. James Beverly bounced between the 34 and 43 all year and came up short in the championship, finished 5th, 40 points behind Jeff Fisher, but got a win this year, so you can't exactly call it a failure for Beverly and Lambert Motorsports. Damon Jones and Denny Adams finished within 5 points of each other, 6th and 7th in the standings with a win, and it appears that they're going to be headed to the PCC Cup Series next year, along with Casey Lester, 8th in the championship, 5 points behind Adams. JF Davila fell short, it looks like, in getting Team Canada up. We'll confirm that when we show team points later on. And Roman Carpont gets the last spot in the top 10, a good run for the Tony Long Autosport team. Greg Maddox fell out of the top 10 in points at this race. Isaac Parsons, and our first DNQ for this race was Lucien Ekdahl there in the 39 car. That team is not returning. They're going racing in Europe next year. Justin King tied with Alex Posington, one of the DNQs for this race. He got that by virtue of starting this race. Patrick O'Hannigan win on the year, but a rough year for Hannigan Enterprises, as he was up in the top 10 for a majority of the year and fell out here. Daniel Bouchard, 17th in points, 1 point behind Patrick O'Hannigan, a successful rookie campaign for him. JC Carpenter in 18th with the Circle Track team. Matt Beck DNQ'd this race, but it looks like he'll be back with wins a lot next year. And Alex Constantine jumps up into the top 20 in points with his run today. And it looks like that Turbo Sports did manage to get into the Light Series again for next season. Now, taking a look at the results, Clay Gibson fell just under a second short of taking the win in potentially his last race here in North America before he heads back to Europe. to run for the championship for Paloma Autosport. Mason Yokoyama finished 3rd in a bright spot. Looks like he's going to be a contender on the road courses in the Light Series next year. And Lenore Scurry, P4, rounds out a very successful rookie campaign. Jeff Fisher fell back to 5th, but again, appears to have locked up the final promotion spot for Syzygy Engineering. We'll confirm that later on. Connie Brooks, best running of the NAC drivers, finished in 6th in a strong performance for that Marcus Stanton team. Sergei Yakovsky brings it home in 7th for the Triple Threat team. Not quite the result that they were hoping for. I believe they wanted a win, but still a good run for that team's debut in the Light Series. And Casey Lester in 8th in his last race with the AJ Murphy team. Sam Burkhart, 9th place, just was not enough to win the championship as Dustin Oliver brought it home in 14th, 5 positions back. Daniel Bouchard rounds out the top 10, got around Roman Carpont late in the going, who finished in 11th place. Strong run for both of them. And Denny Adams was the best running of the DJ Motorsports cars in 12th. Ryan Jeffries, 13th. Good performance on debut considering he started nearly in last place. Patrick O'Hannigan, despite being off-cycle, brought it home in 15th. The best of the off-cycle cars. Prince Tlass didn't quite have the run he was looking for. He finished in 16th after winning the truck race. Samantha Mason on debut finishes in 17th place in the Darrell Development car. We might be seeing her in the Light Series in some capacity next season. Cannot confirm or deny that, but she had fastest lap here today, which is why she has 42 points. JF Davila off-cycle in 18th. Alex Constantine brought it home in 19th, which is what he needed to do to get to stay in the Light Series, and JC Carpenter rounds out the top 20. Finally, taking a look at the team standings, Sam Brown Racing takes the team championship with 1,168 points, 148 more than their closest rival, Lambert Motorsports. With Sam Brown Racing shutting down next season and Lambert Motorsports expected to defer their promotion as they are a junior team of ROG Motorsports. However, they have stated that they will make their decision following the Cup Series Cleveland Grand Prix, which sounds a little bit ominous if you ask me. The 3 teams that would be promoted would be Petroltech Engineering, returning to the Cup Series after leaving after 2014. Same thing with DJ Motorsports in 4th, and Syzygy Engineering would take the final promotion spot, making this their first attempt at running the full Cup schedule. They take the final promotion spot over Team Canada by 19 points. Looking down the standings, Turbo Sports and Grand Strand Racing take the final 2 spots in the Light Series for next season, meaning that Fat Drunk Stupid Racing, Ryan Matthews Racing, and Tauger Racing Unit would be the 3 teams demoted to the PCC Truck Series for the next season. And that concludes our coverage of the 2016 PCC Light season. Make sure you come back next season where I'll be live streaming every single PCC National Series race, including the Europe East and West Series right here.